Beep, 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 and welcome to the Court of the Digester. How are we doing, good peeps? Right, buy me a coffee, would you? Or subscribe to my Substack. All the links are in the doobriz. Or do me a super thanks. Or better still, become a warrior teacher in August. So we decided we're going to open 2 different times because I've had people say to me, I work nights. Or I work from 5 in the afternoon, so therefore I can't attend. So we're going to do 1:11 in the morning. All right, and let's see whether there's enough people that are at home at that time who would like to get involved. So I'll be putting the details of that up over the next few days as we move into next week, and that will be something that will be starting in August. So if you'd like to know more, just keep an eye out, or you can send me a message on the Twitteroids, all right? So what have we got today? We're back with the marvellous James S's, some of you will be familiar with. So I have my tea and I have my implement to vape. And it's quite a long one, so get a coffee. Go on. Yes. James sat and watched a Pink News Summit. Pink News Trans Summit. It was summit, I can tell you. The Pink News Trans. And he's done it for us so we don't have to, which is bless you, James. Thank you for that. And it happened on the 11th of May. Pink News, an LGBT plus news outlet, ran their virtual trans summit. For context, this is the same Pink News who has been forced to settle out of court with both Joanna Cherry and Julie Bindel. They don't like it up 'em. After publishing libelous information about them. This is the same Pink News whose CEO, Benjamin Cohen, made this discriminatory statement that it's unlikely that someone with gender-critical views would be successful in being employed in Pink News. This is the same Pink News who published an article criticising the government's proposals to implement age blocks on pornographic sites on the basis that it would take away from pleasure-focused inclusivity. This is the same Pink News who launched an initiative with Snapchat entitled Pure Trans Joy, a series of videos with young trans individuals showing off their scars following on from having top surgery. It was nothing other than glorifying bodily mutilation. However, I digress. Not me, James. And yes, James, you have somewhat digressed by this point, but we forgive you, at any rate. The Trans Summit was an event for businesses, charities and professionals. It was sponsored by Ernst & Young, which I thought was like, Morecambe and Wise, or the Two Ronnies. It's not. It's actually a business. Would it be fun? Sponsored by Morecambe and Wise. Bring me sunshine. Right, okay. They're one of the largest professional service organisations in the world, as well as Publicis Group UK, a major advertising agency. Throughout the day, the sessions featured speakers from IBM, HSBC, Wickes, who are currently getting their carpentry-driven arse batted by people going, yeah, that's it. We're done. I've cancelled my kitchen. We're not coming to you anymore, Wickes, until you get your act together, blah, blah, blah. The arrogance of these people, and the arrogance of the people online saying, yeah, nobody's going to boycott Wickes. Where else are you going to go? You're going to go to B&Q or just as bad? Well, actually, we'll spend a little bit more money. We'll go with a local chap, We'll buy the wood direct from somewhere else and get somebody else to do it. Yep, so Wickes is currently getting the boycott Wickes treatment, so be sure to boycott Wickes. Go and have a look why. Twats, right? So, and other well-known brands came along with IBM, HSBC and Wickes. For my sins, I decided to listen to the entire 7-hour event. There is a YouTube recording available. However, it is unlisted, meaning it is impossible to search for it or find it, unless you already have a link. Links in the doobriz and in the article. This, in and of itself, is telling. Why are Pink News wanted to keep this material out of the public spotlight if it's so important? As I sat through it, the answer to that question became readily apparent. Oh, it's exciting, it's coming. From the very outset of the event, it was clear that open dialogue, debate or challenge were going to be off the table. So 7 hours of backslapping twats, all right? Attendees were told as part of housekeeping that the entire purpose of the day was creating a safe space and that there was to be no challenging of people's lived experience. It's just so predictable. If you cannot challenge lived experience, it means you are prohibited from challenging anything anyone says, because what else does one have other than lived experience, which is essentially opinion that hasn't been washed through the washing machine of ideas yet. The first session, the keynote speech, was delivered by Rico Chace, or Chace, C-H-A-C-E, unusual, a trustee of the LGBT Plus Consortium. James has done some more work on them, and he includes a link to it there. They're the bunch that are, it's like the LGBT Foundation, all sorts of others, grievance gerbils that are involved in that. He began by saying, hate and misinformation must stop. Good luck with that. Have you met the internet? And besides which, I have a right to hate, you daft twat. How dare you? Imagine if somebody said, love and misinformation must stop, yeah. Contempt and misinformation must stop. Joy and misinformation must stop. Just fuck off and be manipulative behaviour is swine. How refreshing, I thought. Of course we should do away with both of those things. No, James, we shouldn't, right? I should have known better. What followed from Chase's lips was what could only be described as hate and misinformation. He told the audience, I personally hold the press and government responsible for the murder of trans people in the UK. Right, okay. You cannot get more inflammatory than that. What murders? He accused the Equality and Human Rights Commission of being transphobic, all because they dared to advise that the definition of sex in legislation should be clarified and raised concerns about the implementation of self-ID. He provided a statistic that 1 in 3 employers won't hire a trans person. Of course, there was no reference provided for this ridiculous statistic because it is made up. I wonder if it's 1 in 3 employers won't employ a gender-addled grievance gerbil and social justice tosser. Are you a social justice tosser? Please don't apply. Have you spoken to Wickes? Wankers! Right. He finished up by blaming the problems of trans people in society on colonialism. It's just like, this is the first speech of the day. These ridiculous people. Before providing a made-up anecdote about a non-binary pharaoh. Right? Tutankhamun, a certain person. Tutankhamun, undefined. Being discovered in ancient Egypt. If this was the keynote speaker, I felt a sense of dread as to what was yet to come. The next session of the day was entitled Allyship for Managers with Global Butterflies. Global Butterflies is an organisation run by 2 trans men, who offer training and consultancy with businesses. The panel also included a speaker from TCICAP, Ticky Cap, a London-based financial services firm. We were told by one of the speakers that you know you're being an ally when you're doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. Yep, supporting sterilising kids and medicalising kids and, trans in the gay away, that makes me feel uncomfortable. You bet that would make me an ally with you. You creeps. Is it possible that the discomfort stems from being asked to go along with an ideology that runs completely counter to biological reality? Asked James. And I say to James, yes. A resounding yes to you, James. That's exactly why. The panel offered a variety of counters, which can be used to challenge employees who don't want to share a toilet with someone of a different sex, before being told you're doing trans whether you want to or not. This felt threatening. Of course it's threatening. They're a bunch of nutters. One of the trans panellists even pretended to mock a woman raising a concern about shared toilets at work. He put on an over-the-top, high-pitched voice exclaiming, I don't want to use the loo next to Colin. This was disgusting to witness. I imagine it was. But then I'd take the piss out of him. But that's not some conference designed to be some serious thing. No, I would do... Actually, that's not... I'm lying. I would do it at a conference. I'd do it loudly, even if I was in the audience. Stop fucking about, you tossers. How on earth is a female employee feeling discomfort or unsafe at the prospect of a man sharing a bathroom able to speak when this is the message being handed down? The message is being handed down. You're a woman, you don't get to speak. That's the message. When asked what employers should do to help employees, one of the panelists provided an anecdote of an employer who brought an apartment for a trans employee near work in order to keep them safe. Are you trans? I'll buy you an apartment. Yesterday they had the dressing up box out and all that crap from the other day when I did the video, and they're giving them 50 quid to buy lipstick. Now they're buying them apartments. How much farther is this insanity going to go? How much farther? They bought an apartment for a trans employee near work in order to keep them safe. Safe from what exactly? The dust in the London Underground, says James. Another said that trans women should be involved in workplace events relating to International Women's Days and menopause. This rhetoric completely undermines the notion of what it means to be a woman, which, by the way, is a protected characteristic, reminds James. I'm feeling horrified by what I'd heard so far, but felt the need to persevere. God, James, you absolute warrior. The next session was entitled Future of the Workplace, Preparing for Gen Z. The panel was, as you might imagine, made of young people from a range of organisations, including EY, whatever that is, and gendered intelligence. I had previously written about the latter, including the residential camps they run, in which they facilitate children of opposite sexes sleeping in the same room. Horrifying. Perhaps the youth of the day would have some sage advice and wisdom to share. Unfortunately not. One of the youths expressed excitement for a future in which there will be more queer people. Let them gather at the river. Let them gather at the river. Will you join me for a riparian delights and river and queers? We were informed by one of the panel, that there will be a future in which there will be no more queer people, right? Okay, and no more assumptions that anyone is cis. Mouse kids. Maoism. We were informed by one of the panel that it was really embarrassing and cringe when they once worked in a team with straight white men from Essex. This is real, right? Okay, this is actually real. Oh my God. James, I hope you've got a copy of the video. Just, you've got to have a copy of the video so that they can't take it down. Right? And go, oh yeah, mistake, error. Get a copy. Put it in an archive somewhere. Annoy them. They once worked in a team with a straight white men from Essex. What exactly is wrong with being straight or white or a man or from Essex? Well, I could argue with the latter. I'm kidding. In the height of the hypocrisy and inconsistency, the audience were told explicitly to not be offensive when engaging with trans people, but that if it's okay if we offend people by being our authentic selves. They're setting up an extreme priestly class that will have access to your children, that will control the money you get for any work you want to do. If you can't see it yet, you're living in cuckoo land, right? Start looking. What came next was possibly the most concerning session of the day. Transition and Support Services, hosted by Dr. Jack Doyle from Mind Out, an LGBTQ mental health service based in Brighton. Dr. Doyle began by expressing discontent that UK gender clinics act as gatekeeper from trans people getting the medication and surgery they desire. Desire being the operative word. He expressed support for systems which enable people to walk into a clinic and start on cross-sex hormones the very same day. The very same day. Strike him off! This is particularly concerning for a medical professional to say in the light of potentially irreversible and harmful ramifications of such hormones. In an attempt at fear-mongering, Dr. Doyle claimed that trans people have to wait over 20 years to have a first appointment with a gender clinic in the UK. If I had my way, you'd wait till the day you dropped. There wouldn't be any. And this guy here, Doyle, is the exact reason why there shouldn't be any. We're facilitating medical experimentation on humans. Jesus. There was no reference to a statistic about that 20-year wait. It is a barefaced lie. Waiting times are far too high and can unfortunately sometimes stretch into years, but 20 years, no. He went on to accuse professional and governments who do not facilitate medical transition as handing down a death sentence. Transperbally. Before offering a selection of loopholes in terms of how to get hormones anyway. The government's made drugs, if the government made it illegal, this guy would be pushing it. Could he be a pimp for the pharmaceutical companies? I don't know. Who knows? I imagine some people would ask that question. Most shocking of all was when he expressly recommended families and children getting in touch with mermaids, an organisation currently under investigation by the Charity Commission for safeguarding concerns. Dr. Doyle finished by blaming infertility caused by cross-sex hormones on the lack of gamete storage. Line up, folks. We're into dystopian sci-fi territory here. Yep, let's line up. Save your gametes. Save the gamete! In the UK, before recommended that workplaces arrange fundraisers for staff who want to medically transition. This is the cult in full swing, folks. Full swing. I could not believe the words I was hearing from a supposed healthcare professional. The penultimate session of the day was entitled The Role of Senior Leaders in Trans Plus Inclusion. It featured Emily Hamilton, a trans woman who is Director of Trans in the City, This is the same Emily Hamilton who previously used a Nazi slur against James himself on Twitter, knowing full well he's Jewish. During the talk, Hamilton said in relation to gender critical belief that there is no room for those views in the new world. Get your flags out. Yeah, it's that. I mean, that's a massively discriminatory statement about a protected belief system. As James says, the panel also featured the chief operating officer of Wickes, the largest home improvement retailer, Fraser Longden. Right. Longden shockingly called anyone who disagreed with him on this topic bigots before saying that they are not welcome in our stores anymore. He also claimed that 90% of the population are just slightly ignorant. Jesus Christ, on a bike. This man sells nails. What's he doing? What are they doing, these businesses? ERG or ESG or whatever the stupid goals they've set. Right? What's going on? These offensive, divisive and derogatory and discriminatory remarks are an absolute outrage. I wonder how the majority of Wickes customers would feel knowing its senior management holds them in such disdain. It's since been released by those clever people who know how to use Google properly that over 70% of the people that go in Wickes are over 30. Right? Over 30, so 30, 35. My biggest audience, right? 35 upwards, okay? Are going to Wickes. So I've got the funny feeling that Wickes is about to get, cancelled for being stupid, or allowing this twat Longden to call 90% of its customers stupid, and then the rest of us bigots if we don't believe in his trans nonsense. I wonder if Wickes are going to pay. They already are. Somebody messaged me to say that they've cancelled their £4,000 kitchen and have gone somewhere else. Good for you. That's what you do. Boycott Wickes. Somehow I made it through the final session of the day, which was supporting parents with trans, non-binary and gender diverse family members. It featured a panel of parents with trans children who work for a range of companies, including IBM and HSBC. One of the parents said she regrets crying when her child came out as trans and now realises that she should have been happy about it. What sort of message does that send to concerned parents out there, fearful that their children have been encouraged down a path which may cause them irreversible harm? It will cause them irreversible harm, mentally. Most concerning of all was a mother who shared a story of allowing her son to socially transition at the age of just 6 years old. We get these fucks and put them in jail. God only knows how many employees were sent by their employer to attend this training. Had the link to this video not been shared with me by a concerned attendee, I would never have known of its existence. This event claimed to be all about inclusion and diversity. In reality, it was a front for lies, hatred, scaremongering, discriminatory statements, and ideological indoctrination. All being facilitated and supported by some of the largest corporations in the country. This cannot be allowed to continue. It's a wonderful article from James. Please do read it. I mean, I've just read it to you, but please do go and have a look and subscribe to James, and obviously help him out if you can. Yeah, cracking. Go and think on it, right? While you're at it, don't bother with Wickes, right? Okay? And tell them. Get online and tell them you're not going to bother with them. There's a hashtag already, I think, boycott Wickes. That was going to happen, wasn't it? Good stuff. All right, folks, look, I'll see you in my next video from me. Goodbye. That's it. I'm done. Become a warrior teacher. I'll see you later. Bye.